guys, Dr. Andrea Spina here, functionalanatomyseminars.com, functionalanatomyblog.com. Over the last few days I've been retweeting the Jiu Jitsu Mobilizations, i.e. the mobilizations that I created based on Jiu Jitsu moves. So I posted the Kimura Mob for the shoulder, the Kimura Mob for the hip, as well as the heel hook Mob to promote tibial rotation. So what I'm going to demonstrate here is the Americana Mob, which is very similar to the Kimura Mob, but it's just for mobilizing the glenohumeral joint into external rotation. Now I know a lot of you guys are going to be thinking, why would you possibly want to mobilize something into external rotation, especially the glenohumeral joint, considering the fact that glenohumeral joint is highly unstable in that range of motion. You'd want to probably use these types of things for post-surgical cases like the one I'm dealing with right here. So post-surgical fibrosis, post-surgical scarring, which is restricting that external range of motion. But also if you are rehabilitating external rotation and abduction. So for example, if someone had a anteriorly dislocated shoulder and you were going to rehabilitate the anterior dislocated shoulder, a lot of people would avoid that abduction external rotation position because you can potentially get another dislocation. Whereas the way I look at it, I try to strain the tissue in the weakest possible area very slowly in order to get progressive adaptation in the tissue so that you can protect the shoulder from coming out again. So I will actually mobilize into external rotation, but I'll do so using PAILs and RAILs, progressive and regressive angular isometric loading, which you can learn about on the blog. It's a technique that we use in functional range release. So for mobilizing into abduction external rotation, what we're going to do is, first thing, we're going to take our forearm and we're going to put it, just come around here, we're going to put it on top of the shoulder. Now, why is this important? It's important because when we mobilize into external rotation, you want to prevent anterior translation of the shoulder because you want to get a pure glenohumeral joint rotation. So by leaning on the shoulder, we keep the head of the humerus in the glenoid fossa. This is also important if you're dealing with people who have or who have anterior shoulder dislocations, just simply for the fact that you want to keep that shoulder stable as you're strengthening these external ranges of motion. So, elbow goes on there. With my hand, I'm going to grab the wrist. Okay? So from this position here, we're going to take our other hand, we're going to thread it through, and then we're going to secure my hand on top of my own wrist. So for the mobilization, you can take your chest to stabilize or to guide which angle you want the shoulder joint to be at. So let's just stay at neutral. And with this hand, you're going to push down on your wrist as you push back against the glenohumeral joint, and we are mobilizing into external rotation. Okay, so for those of you who are FR certified, you'll know that in that position, if we start to do some PAILs and RAILs work, we'll eventually be strengthening this external range of motion, or we'll be teaching the articulation how to function. Rather, we'll be teaching the nervous system how to operate the articulation in this range of motion, which is, quote-unquote, dangerous. But the thing is if you do not rehabilitate external rotation in people who have recurring shoulder dislocations, you're never actually going to get them back to normal. I personally had an external shoulder dislocation, and you can see by my range that I have no apprehension sign at all. I can move my arm around any way I want because of the fact that I rehabilitated into these ranges, okay? So, if you'll recall, the Kimura Mob was this way, arm threads through. The Americana Mob is the other way, arm threads through.